Dolly Parton, 18, arrived in Nashville in 1964 to pursue her childhood passion. Music was her life from the start. She was one of 12 children in a close-knit Smoky Mountain family. Songwriting and singing were her escape from poverty, and now in country music, she wanted to make her mark. However, fate brought her to a little laundry where she met a man who changed her life. Carl Dean, 21, was modest and independent, uninterested in fame or music. He saw her while running errands. He was immediately drawn to Dolly, even though she wasn't a star. Even in everyday situations, her blonde hair and effervescent demeanor stood out. They looked at one another and spoke with the same candor that would define their friendship for decades. He told her she'd be a star, but I wouldn't be involved. Dolly was used to being praised for her potential. Everyone in her hometown knew she was extraordinary, but Carl didn't praise her. They were true. There were no requests or attempts to impress her. He simply told it like it was. It didn't dawn on her that that moment would define their relationship. Carl was unlike anyone Dolly had met. Carl was different from other men who liked her enthusiasm and ambition. He wasn't impressed by dating a rising star. He liked her as she was, not as she would become. Same day, he asked her out. Their first date wasn't fancy. Carl took her home in his pickup to meet his mother. They chatted on the porch instead of in a restaurant or bar. He was curious in her dreams, past, and laughter. Dolly was used to being the center. Her big personality drew others in, but Carl wasn't trying to be her fan. He taunted and questioned her. He made her giggle like no one else. After the night, Carl decided. He then admitted that he knew he would marry her immediately. Dolly wasn't immediately affected. She focused on her job and adjusted to Nashville. Carl made her feel at home in a new city. She was warned about distractions. Many urged her not to let anything interfere with her dreams, but Carl wasn't a distraction. He anchored her. As Dolly's career took off, avoided the spotlight. She fell in love with a non-famous man, while other aspiring singers dated musicians, producers, or executives. Carl worked hard at his asphalt paving business, unrelated to music. He never asked about her deals or contacts. He never visited the studio or convinced her to introduce him to stars. Questions arose. It was unusual for a rising star's relationship to be so private. Rumors spread. Some believed Carl was a fictitious character, which Dolly exploited to avoid dating. Others thought they had split up, or that he was embarrassed to be with her. The speculation never bothered Dolly. Why were people curious? She understood. She appeared on stage, in publications, and on TV. Carl may have been a ghost, but he wanted it that way. Their relationship was unaffected by celebrity. Carl saw Dolly perform at the Grand Ole Opry from home. Carl worked on his truck in the backyard, while fans chased her for autographs. A good beat was found. They made time for each other individually. Long country drives, late-night porch conversations, and laughter over simple home-cooked dinners. Carl never hated her career, and Dolly never made him join. It didn't matter if no one understood their world, they made it. Dolly's career rose quickly in 1966. The Monument Records artist was creating a reputation for herself in country music. But there was one issue. Her label opposed her marriage. Record corporations advertised young female performers as unmarried and available, fearing marriage would damage their attraction to male fans. Dolly was instructed to wait. She declined. In a tiny ceremony in Ringgold, Georgia, Dolly and Carl eloped on May 30, 1966. Her mother, the minister, and his wife were the only guests. No cameras, reporters, or industry executives monitored them. She wore a basic knee-length dress. No designer gown, costly decor, or contrived images. Private and quiet, just as Carl desired. They headed to their honeymoon in a pickup truck after saying their vows. Without five-star resorts or lavish vacations, just the two of them like they always desired. Fame strains most famous marriages, but Dolly and Carl's relationship strengthened. Their lives were built on distinct worlds, but shared affection. Carl never haunted her. He never appeared on her album covers, music videos, or award shows, and Dolly never forced him to. They made time for each other individually. Carl wrote her poetry and left notes about the house. He got up early to bring her coffee in bed. He joked about her wigs in their backyard, making her chuckle after long shows. After 50 years of marriage, they still enjoyed tiny things. They renewed their vows privately on their 50th anniversary in 2016. As with their first wedding, it was private and quiet. Carl died quietly as he had lived, shunning the spotlight. Why Carl Dean avoided fame? Carl Dean was mysterious from the start. Carl shunned the spotlight. Unlike most celebrity spouses, fame, cameras, and Hollywood didn't attract him. Despite loving Dolly, he didn't like being married to a star. Carl was uncomfortable with public attention, unlike her. He stated from the start that he was private and respected his peace. From the moment he met Dolly, he promised to assist her, but never wanted to be famous. He had his own life, work, and method of demonstrating love without red carpets or magazine covers. Carl wasn't timid or embarrassed by Dolly's popularity. Fame seemed pointless to him. Carl was content working on his truck, running his asphalt paving business, and relaxing at home while Dolly performed for huge crowds and gave interviews. He refused to attend events or tour with Dolly. He usually answered simply when asked why he never went out. Her world, not mine. He maintained that belief. Carl grew even more mysterious as Dolly's fame exploded. Most people expect a country music superstar's husband to attend every award event and celebrate her successes. Carl stayed unseen. No red carpets, interviews, or public appearances. Carl was never seen at Dolly's world-famous concerts. He never attended her concert. This increased speculation. How could a man marry one of the world's most renowned women and never see her? People doubted Carl existed. A celebrity husband staying out of the spotlight was unheard of. Dolly and Carl weren't the typical media-loving power couple. He was thought to be a fictional character Dolly utilized to maintain appearances. Others thought their marriage had ended quietly years ago, and Dolly was pretending to be flawless to safeguard her image. Hollywood rarely allowed marriages without public appearances. The Carl mystery deepened with time. Without public sightings, social media presence, or proof of his existence, other than Dolly's statements, suspicions spread. Their covert divorce for years may have been to avoid media attention,